Hey everybody, I'm back after a really long break and I am going to be doing another layout for y'all using the July kit from HipKit. Ignore the movements of my hands. I had originally done a live voice for this and then I didn't like it, so I'm redoing it for y'all. So I have about 2 pieces of printed paper left from my July HipKit kit. It was the one that was all the Western theme, and I've done several different layouts. I'm showing you the 2 pieces that I have left, and also a piece of white basil cardstock. So I'm going to be using those 2, the stripes and the pink on this layout, and also the white cardstock. I'm going to be sticking pretty faithfully to the embellishments that are left on this hip kit, and I am going to get very, very close to killing this kit off, other than some embellishments, because as you can see, I have quite a few left. I'm going to be using those embellishments, and I'm going to be scrapping some photos from my trip out to northern Arizona with my husband that we just went to for our anniversary. And so that's what this very last layout with this hip kit is. So I skipped ahead here and I went ahead and I layered the stripey and the pink backgrounds as a matte for the very outside part of my layout. I decided to, of course, I gutted the centers so that I can use the rest of the papers. And I am going to go ahead and finally use those fabric diamonds that came in the kit. You're supposed to be able to use them to make flags or banners or all that kind of stuff, and I will use them a bit for that in this layout as well. However, I really wanted to do some kind of design using those diamond shapes, and so I don't know who it was that I saw, but I saw somebody had cut out a diamond paper. It was not these fabric pieces that came from HipKit, but somebody, and I forget who it was, I'm so sorry that I don't have your name, someone had done a design similar to this by fussy cutting out some diamonds from a paper and then cascading them down the page like this, and I liked that idea, so I wanted to do that as well using these fabric diamonds. So at this point I'm just kind of playing around to try and get a design that I like. And I thought I would go with 4 rows, but I do end up just sticking with 3, and I put them a little bit close together. As you can see there, they're all tacked down. And then I wasn't quite sure how I was going to use the inside pieces that I had cut out, that I had gutted from the striped paper and the pink paper. But y'all, I just can't leave that striped paper alone. And so I have to put it on the front as well. So I'm going to do that in a second. Right now I'm just kind of playing around with my photos. I had 4 of them and I'm going to play around with them for a minute, because when I started this layout, other than knowing I wanted to use those fabric diamonds, I had no clue what I was going to do with this layout. So I'm playing around with these pictures, and this was from when we were in Williams, Arizona. We came the night before, and the next day we were going to get on the Grand Canyon Railway and go to the Grand Canyon. So this was the day before we went on the Grand Canyon, and so with all of those photos, we were just kind of exploring the town, which is big into the Cars, the Pixar Cars theme. So they have a lot of the little characters and stuff, and like little nostalgic things about that movie on there. It was pretty cute. And so in one of the pictures, my husband and I were standing in front of kind of like this morphed Lightning McQueen and Mater that was just kind of sitting outside of one of the shops. So it was a cute picture, and it was a really cute town. I definitely recommend going there if you have never been. Okay, so with the striped paper, what I decided to do was that I was going to put the striped paper on either side of the diamonds, as you can see. So, and of course, I love to have texture. So I cut each of the strips apart. And then for some reason, I forgot to turn on my camera when I was tearing the edges. So I will show you that process when I do the other side. But I cut apart each of the stripes, I scuffed them up, and then I tore the edges just in kind of a random shape. And right now I'm just kind of bending it back so we can get some of the white core to show on that. So the other side I will do the same thing. I don't remember if I take a break here or not, but I go ahead and I'm going to cut them apart too. I'm just going to kind of leave this process, part of it in for you guys, just a little bit, and kind of show you what I did on the other side, because I forgot to leave it in there or turn my camera on when you know how sometimes you're just going and going and going and you get the idea to do it, because I hadn't really known what I wanted to do with this layout. So once I got the idea to do it, I just started going and completely forgot to push record. There I am using the old thumbnail measuring technique. And for this, I'm going to cut them apart using my trimmer, just because it's a little bit easier, but I'll skip ahead here in just a second so you don't have to watch me cut them all apart. There we go. And I'm just kind of showing you that I'm scuffing them up, because like I said, I forgot to show you on the first one. So I do show you a couple of the stripes that I'm just using a distressing tool. I don't know about y'all, but it's really hard for me to find these distressing tools. I wanted to get one for my mom that was like mine, and I have a Tim Holtz, and for the longest time they just did not have any anywhere. I couldn't find them at our scrapbooking stores. I couldn't get them online. Finally, I found one that was in stock somewhere, but I don't understand why these things are so hard to find. But as I said, I'm just going to go ahead and I do this through the whole thing. I think this is the last one you have to watch. I like to distress mine pretty distressed on the edges, so I kind of go a little bit hard there with my distressing tool. And you can do like varying amounts of distress on your papers, just depending on how many times you rub that tool down the paper or how hard you press. I mean, you got to be careful so you don't rip it, but even sometimes that's kind of a cool look. And so here I am just tearing the paper, and then I will adjust the edges like this, kind of fold them back a little bit so that you can see more of the white on the edge, and then I tack them all down like this. I will show you, I think that's the only one I show you, and then I go skip ahead so you don't have to watch. There we go. There's everything all finished, and here I am playing with the photos again. I promise I will figure out what I want to do with them. It just takes me a minute to decide what I like. And as I was thinking about it, I really liked the vertical design. I kind of wanted to stick to that, but I didn't want to cover anything up. So that's why I was having such a hard time figuring out how to put these pictures, because I just liked the background so much that I did not want to lose any of it. So I played and played and played, and then, you know, in a second I will finally figure out, okay, this is what I want, and, you know, but it'll be, here we go. I'm figuring it out now. I put everything aside and I stopped the camera for a bit and played around, because I just could not figure out what I wanted to do. So what I decide on in the end is to keep the photos vertical. I'm going to adhere them to a white strip that's going to be the background for 2 of the photos, and then the center photo I'm going to pop up and give a few more layers to just kind of make that photo stand out. And I switch my photos around, because the picture of my husband and I in front of the Mater / Lightning McQueen guy there, that'll be my center photo. Just trimming this down just a little bit, because it was a little longer than I wanted it to. I wanted it to stick up over 2 of the layers around the outside. For some reason, I liked the look of that, and so that is what I decided to do. There we go. We have the photos in the order that I'm going to keep them in. Like I said, I'm going to, I think I triple matte that center photo. I do the pink, and then I take one of my scraps that is left over from the kit that I haven't used yet on this layout. It's a yellow piece of paper, and I liked bringing the yellow into it because we just don't have that much of it, and so I liked bringing the yellow. It made it a little brighter, and I just really wanted that photo to stand out. And I just, like I said, when I didn't say it because I taped over it. What I had said in the original intro was that that was a pretty cool animal print, but it just didn't go with my vibe. So I thought about using it there for a mat, but I decided in the end that it still didn't work. So there's that little scrap of paper. As you can see, it's not quite big enough to cover my whole photo, but you know what? I didn't care. I just used what it had, and honestly, you can't even really tell that it doesn't cover the whole thing. I do some embellishments on the one side of it anyway. I was going to cover up that corner, but I don't think I did. I didn't end up covering up that corner, so it's still visible, but I don't even notice it on the page. So for me, it doesn't really matter that much that little corner isn't covered by yellow. But what I'm going to do anyways, I'm going to put it on some white in a minute, and I think that kind of hides it because I wanted it to stick off from that white strip that the other pictures are going to be on. So here I go. I'm going to put kind of a wider white border around this one, and I'm going to distress it, and then it sticks off just enough for it to look, there we go, for it to look like it stands out. I do have it up on some foam. It isn't quite tacked down yet. You don't have to watch me tack everything down. I think I do show in a second when I permanently place it, but I didn't show you every little part of it. Actually, I don't even think I have the foam on it yet. I don't even know, guys. I did this yesterday, and it's early in the morning for me, so I'm not thinking quite straight, but so my main title is just going to be Williams, Arizona, which was where we were. And then I put that secondary title that says like besties on it, right by our photo. And I had kind of like these grand ideas that I was going to put another embellishment up there in the top left-hand corner, which is part of the reason I put the title like down here. Plus I liked the title down there instead of centered. And you may see me, I cut out a lot of it, but I messed around so much in that corner and just ended up deciding I didn't want anything there because it just looked funny. So you'll probably see me put stuff up there multiple times and mess around with that, but in the end I just didn't like how anything looked up there, and so it's just going to stay blank there, which is fine because then we can just enjoy the pretty background papers and the diamonds and everything without our eye getting taken away from it. Okay, here I go. I'm putting on all of the strips, and yes, I need to get just some of the craft foam that you can just cut out and plop on the back, but I just haven't gone up to get it yet. So I am still using my strips from Amazon. They take a little bit longer, but they do the same thing. So I cut a little bit of going through the embellishments because as much as I love this kit from Hip Kit, I found the embellishments to be really hard to use. They're so very specific and westerny that if I don't have quite the right photos, I'm having a really hard time making a lot of those big embellishments work. I'm not the biggest fan of big embellishments anyway that are not like words or flowers, so like a title, and none of those ones seem to work for a title yet. So I'm trying, guys, and I may just have to fussy cut some things out and use them as embellishments at some point to get them used up. But I am going to go ahead and I'm going to make some flags out of the diamonds that I have left. There's a ton of diamonds and triangles that come in that set. So I do go ahead and I'm going to make some of those flags for this layout. And I really like how it turns out. Here I am. I'm still just kind of playing around with what I want. I know I want that like sheriff's badge there. I don't know why. I just think it's cute and I like that badge. I like the banners, and so I stuck those down underneath the secondary title, and here I am playing around over there in that spot again, trying to figure out what I can put there because at this point I don't like the space and I feel like it needs something. But in the end, like I said, I'm gonna end up leaving it. And I do like this little flag there. And I am going to end up making a few more flags, you'll see here in a little bit, to kind of complement that one. I really like that one, and that piece of ephemera, and it says friendship, which, you know, can work for my husband and I. And so I wanted to kind of put that there, and I loved the colors, but it does not make it on the layout. Excuse me. Here I am looking for some more of the diamonds to make some more flags. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Make sure we get all these cute little things on here. Like, this would not normally be something that I would make, like the flags, but I like that they included something like this in the kit. That is something that I kind of have to figure out how I will use it. I like being challenged that way, to try and figure out how I'm going to use something that I wouldn't normally use. So I really love tacking down the diamonds on the actual sheet, because not only are they really pretty and they make a really neat design, but they just feel really cool. So if you touch them, since they're fabric, they add a whole nother layer of texture and dimension to the piece that, you know, you just can't get from paper. So I really like that they included that, and that you could just use it in so many different ways. Okay, so one thing I did find difficult, though, was trying to get those sticks down where I needed them, and to position the flags the way that I wanted them to be. I did find that a little bit more difficult, probably due to the fact that I had already tacked down my photos, and I had, around that main photo, I had the foam underneath it. So, you know, it's not as forgiving as if you have taper glue under there. So I couldn't just shove the little sticks under there. I had to carefully maneuver and break them off, and in just the right way, so that I could get them to be situated how I wanted them on the page. But yeah, so I'm going ahead, and I think I end with 4 flags. I made a third one at one point. I don't know if you're going to see that. I might have cut that from the video because I didn't end up using it. I just stuck it back in my kit to be used another time. And I do have to figure out kind of a cool way to use those. I'm percolating an idea right now of how I could use those flags in a layout that would be pretty cool. So I'll keep thinking on that, and I would love to use some more of them, just because they're just such a cool little design element. The only problem is I don't have any paper left from this kit, so I would have to get pretty creative and use them on their own to decorate, which I think I could do. So I am just working through getting the finishing things done on this page. Like I said, I struggled a little. Sorry about that, guys. I was trying to move a message off from my screen so I could see what I was doing, and I accidentally stopped the recording. So I apologize for that. Don't know what I was saying beforehand, so apologize again for that. So at this point in the layout, I am just kind of finishing up, adding some embellishments to this. I have the stuff that's on there is mostly what's going to be on there. I will add a few more things, but it's not going to be a ton. So at this point, I'm just kind of adding things, adding some dimension, putting some foam on the back of some of these so that they stick up nicely, and give us that nice texture and dimension that we like on our papers, or at least how I like on my papers. I'm kind of big about embellishing and about having all of those different layers of things and that dimension on my page. I know some people enjoy scrapping a little bit flatter, which there's nothing wrong with that. To each their own. I just prefer a lot of bumps and things on my pages. So my albums tend to get very thick, and I run out of room very quickly because my pages are all super bumpy. Excuse me, I am still trying to get over illness. I got COVID back at the beginning of July, and I've had some issues with long COVID since then. And then I just got back from a trip to see my family in Michigan, and I caught another cold immediately upon coming home. So I am still struggling with trying to get well again. Okay, so that cow head or deer head or whatever that is that I just put there, I have been trying to use that animal skull head, whatever it is, on my last few layouts that I used this kit. I loved that piece because I really love the colors in it, and I have been trying forever and ever and ever to use it, and I finally use it on this layout. I am super excited that I finally have it. I'm over there screwing around with that lasso right now. I want to use that too, because I'm like, he keeps falling off from my little chipboard holder thing that they come on. And so I just was like, you need to go on a page, because obviously you're trying to escape. And so I need to put you on a page. So I mess around with how I want him over here. And then I come up with this design with the lasso kind of hanging off from one of the horns. And I love it. I love it. I think it looks so cute. And I'm super, super excited to finally be using that animal head and that lasso, both of which were trying to fall off from my background sheet of my chipboard. So super excited about that. I'm going through, at this point, my Scrap and Happy Studios flair. I ordered a ton of flair after this trip. And because I had gone on several trips and we did a few road trips, I ordered a bunch of road trip flair. So I wanted to go through and use it. And this little set here that I have, I play around with it for a second to figure out where I want to put stuff. It matches the blue in this kit like perfectly, like that light blue. It's kind of like a gray blue actually, but it matched that perfectly. So one says road trip and one says, are we there yet? And I just thought that was funny and cute because, you know, even though we didn't take our kids this time and our kids are all, you know, young adults now, they used to always say, are we there yet? Doesn't every kid say that? And so it just brings back memories. So I stick the are we there yet up there under the skull thingy, and road trip is going to go down by my banners. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those in, get them stuck up in there. I did have a little bit of trouble because that little skull guy is stuck there pretty well. And then the road trip one is going to go down there under the besties sign. I thought about trying to fit the third one in just because I don't have anything to match it, but I'll figure something out. I just didn't want it there. And that is it, guys. This is the whole layout complete. Here's some close-ups for you. I hope y'all enjoyed watching. I did pretty much kill this Hip Kit Club kit. And so I'm super excited about that. I hope y'all enjoyed and that you will join again next time. Bye for now.